All right, let's review the top 7 exercise strategies of the saboteur. So imagine a saboteur going out and saying, I want to be healthy. Now remember that the saboteur is afraid of change. And the reason the saboteur is afraid of change is because they're going to stand above the crowd. The safest place and the most secure place for any human is inside the herd or inside the tribe or inside the majority. And getting healthy would be today outside the herd, outside the cultural norms, outside the average. In the way humans are designed, the way they're programmed and built, and how they work, is that they feel safe in larger groups. And this is because humans have been shown to be pack animals. They love running with the herd because there's safety in the herd. If you were outside the herd, and maybe 25,000 years ago you're outside the tribe, you'd probably be dead. So all this fear about being outside the herd or outside the tribe or doing things that are different that might get you ostracized or attacked is pushed away. There's a great fear around being different. And the way our subconscious minds work is that they library and analyze and data mine everything that the eyes have taken into the brain over our entire lifetime to determine the safety protocol and what's acceptable behavior inside the culture. And it's that behavior that's shared by most which is the safest behavior. And that's why everybody plays toward the middle and plays toward the average and plays toward the mediocre. And the way the DNA, genetic, the subconscious mind and how it always wants to play toward the average, if everybody was great, we would actually feel safer being great. If everybody was healthy, we'd feel safer being healthy. If everybody had strong family lives and everybody was married and healthy children, everybody would feel very afraid not to be in that group. Flash forward till today, and we don't have that. We have the majority are sick, they're unhealthy, they're in debt, they live check to check, they're dependent, they act like children. I call them pro-teens, professional teenagers. So we just have a general collapse of everything that you need to make sure your society perpetuates itself. We don't have any strong leadership or any strong health movements. And this is why today there's so many saboteurs. It looks like they're not healthy, but they're simply trying to mimic and copy and emulate what they're seeing so that they find safety and security with the bigger group. Now, the saboteur also is driven by other genetic, programs inside their DNA, and one of those programs is to become the best version of ourselves. They want to become better. They want to become healthier, richer, and wiser. And that sets up a resistance, a conflict always in the mind, especially in our society, and a conflict in behavior, because to be one with the herd, we have to be like the herd, and the herd today looks like they've been thrown down the evolutionary ladder and dragged behind a tractor for a couple of miles, and that's giving them that signal. But there's also other genetic signals that say, look, you can do better. It'd be great if you had more money. It'd be great if you had more freedom. You were more control of your time. And this resistance is a conflict between the life they have and the life they want to live. And sometimes that life they want to live gets them going to exercise because they want to fulfill that emotional requirement and the need to evolve and become better human beings. But at the same time, because the saboteur is afraid of standing out above the herd, and the herd is not very healthy, they subconsciously sabotage their progress in many creative ways. And a lot of the people who do the sabotaging, they're not aware of why they're doing it. They get very confused. They get very frustrated, and they kind of blame themselves, which isn't a good thing. It's not good for the saboteur to say, oh, there's something wrong with me. I know it's just me. It's not you. It's understanding the process can make this a lot easier. And let's just maybe review the top 7 exercise strategies of the saboteur. If it sounds like you, maybe I can help you. I'll offer some help at the end of the recording. Number 1, when the saboteur wants to exercise, they often phone a friend who's really unhealthy. And subconsciously, there's the resistance or the conflict out in plain sight, because exercise is considered to satisfy that emotional requirement to become our best. But then there's also the fear of accomplishing that goal, because if you accomplish the goal, the same genetic drive that makes us afraid to be outside the herd is the same genetic drive that makes a person attack someone who's outside the herd. The person who's a human, obviously, they know they're going to be attacked, and they're very afraid of being attacked, because outside the herd meant maybe a for sure death 25,000 years ago, and that genetic signal is still very strong. I mean, that's how much fear comes in. It's almost like a fear of death being different than your friends. And if you have friends that are 240 pounds and you go down to 200, you're going to get attacked. You're going to get questioned. You're going to get ostracized. You're going to get lambasted. You might even be mocked. You might even not be invited out to the pizza and the coffee night, and then you're tribeless, and that feels really scary. So the saboteur usually phones, if they're going to buddy up, they phone the most unhealthy friend who's never been healthy their entire lives. They've tried to be healthy and failed all the time. Sometimes they're smokers, sometimes they're drinkers, but they're usually very comedic about their failures. They're good, jovial people, but there's a reason the saboteur contacts that person and says, let's walk around the block, or let's go to the gym together, because the saboteur knows that person's going to end up saying, let's go out to the coffee shop, let's get a donut, let's get some pizza. And that's exactly what the subconscious mind of the saboteur is always drawn to, is the try and then the fail. It's to set the failure up right out of the gate, because the fear of actually becoming more or becoming better is that intense. And that can get confusing, and it can get discouraging. It costs a lot of money to keep trying and failing. It's just a lot more economical if you understand how this process works. Number 2, if the saboteur wants to start exercising, they often buy home equipment. But sort of subconsciously, everybody knows that the healthy people don't use home equipment. There's a reason for it. It's repetitive. Your body gets used to it. It's often cardiovascular based, treadmills and bikes and things along that line. And it's got failure written all over, because the best way to get in shape is weightlifting. So subconsciously as well, the saboteur knows that there's a good chance that piece of equipment won't get them in shape, and they just like going through the motions as well. The try and fail also gets some attention, and it kind of serves two masters, where they can prove to their friends they're trying, but they can also stay with the herd by failing. And 95% of all home exercise equipment is not used after 2 weeks after the purchase. The saboteur sort of knows that, and might have a large home equipment collection to begin with: the Thigh Master, the Hawaiian chair, the shake weight, the Bowflex. I mean, we know them all, and as a self-sabotage coach, I know them better than anybody. The ab roller, or the ab coaster, and the Thigh Master, the Billy Blanks tapes, the Tai Bo. We could go on and on. And this is the Saboteurs, garage sale items. And you can always tell the biggest Saboteurs in the neighborhood when the garage sales come up, because they're always selling some of these items that are proven failures. This is what the Saboteur is afraid of. They're afraid to become their absolute best. And that has to do with sort of a genetic protection mechanism to be one with the herd, but it's sort of not serving us anymore. And it's not very healthy. Number 3, if the Saboteur starts to exercise, they sometimes do some good exercise routines. They go to the gym. They're going 3 or 4 times a week. They never really go for too long consecutively. But when they do go, they just eat more junk food. So potentially, let's see a lady, she wanted to lose 15 or 20 pounds, and she goes to the gym, and she used to drink 1 glass of wine before she went to the gym. Now she's drinking 2 glasses of wine. She used to have a 6-inch sub for lunch. Now she has a 12-inch sub, and she thinks she can eat more. This is what the lies that she'll tell herself, is that she can eat more and use the exercise to maintain her weight. And that sounds really good, and the subconscious is very good at lying to ourselves. The end result is we just basically stay the same, and that doesn't bring any fear, because no one's going to judge us. And that's why the Saboteur, when they exercise, they usually just start eating more junk food to even everything out. They're not really using the exercise to maintain their weight with the extra food intake. They're actually afraid to get in shape because they know the attack will come. Number 4, if the Saboteur chooses exercise, sometimes they just switch modalities of self-abuse. The Saboteur, again, is famous for following the crowd. And one of the primary patterns inside the crowd today is self-abuse, like self-destruction, disrespect to the body. They're not, self-saboteurs mimic what they see from the crowd. And the crowd today, because of various inverted government and media imagery that's also copied, is people they're a little short of self-love. They're not very good into self-maintenance. They're not very high on the self-care, but they're very good at self-abusing. So sometimes the self-saboteur will destroy themselves with junk food. It's like kind of an attack with food, and then they sort of think they're doing something different, and they're saying, like, I'm going to go to the gym. And then you see them at CrossFit or Tough Mudder or marathoners, or they're triathletes, or they have various over exercise regimes, or they're at the Spartan race. And nothing was really quit and nothing really changed. To the Saboteur, they just disguised their self-hatred and self-loathing and self-abuse, and they decorated and disguised it and cloaked it in exercise. And again, nothing changes. They're still going to they were breaking themselves with bad food before. Now they're just going to break themselves with exercise. So their general health might increase a little bit. And, a little bit of positive momentum is okay for the Saboteur, but they're really afraid of the big strides. And that's why they're always going to pick something that's a little bit self-destructive in most cases. And when this plays out, it's just like a smoker who quits smoking, and then they start drinking. And you hear smokers say this all the time, that, I'm afraid to quit smoking because I'm going to gain weight. Well, you don't gain weight from quitting smoking. You just change self-destructive addiction. So you quit smoking, you go to ice cream eating, or you quit smoking and you start eating more cookies, because that person's just afraid of being more. They need literally some kind of mallet to bash themselves over the head so that they can fit in with the rest of the underachieving addicts that surround them. And that's a very large group today, and that's what the pressure is there. That's why it's there. Number 5, if a saboteur exercises, they're and tries to maybe get their diet going, they're going to pick a diet that's so restrictive and so punishing that it's impossible to maintain. So eventually they just kind of throw their hands up and they give up, and they always wanted to give up in the first place. And that's why they picked the diet that was so restrictive, so they could just on a Friday night with their friends, the hell with it. This diet sucks. I'm not doing it anymore. And the saboteur literally set that up weeks in advance by picking the restrictive diet, because the subconscious is that afraid of becoming the better version of themselves, because they're going to feel like they're isolated from the majority of the people or the bigger group. The saboteur really isn't comfortable loving themselves back to health in a natural and caring way, because no one around them is doing that either. Everybody around them is smoking and drinking and eating junk food and watching the idiot box, and everything that's normal, and we got here today, this isn't really normal. The normal is set into us by the media, and I have to tell you, folks, the media is not there to help you. It's there to give you negative role modeling so you throw yourself down the evolutionary ladder. When humans mimic as their primary form of learned behavior, and all they see on the screens, on the movie screen and the TV screen, all they see is war and conflict and crisis and chaos, that person's going to pick exercises and diets that reflect those attributes. And all of it is designed so that there's never any evolution or ascension or betterment. And this is the cycle that has captured many people who even may be listening to this little discussion. Number 6, when the saboteur starts to exercise, they love the big box discount fitness clubs, because these big box fitness clubs advertise that, hey, we don't take your health that seriously either. We're sort of like you. The big box fitness clubs like Planet Fitness, they have Pizza Mondays and Bagel Tuesdays, and sometimes they'll say, everybody's welcome, no judgment zone. But let me tell you something about the saboteur. They love no judgment, because when you don't judge your food, and you don't judge your friends, and you just don't judge your income, and you just don't judge your weight, you never change. And you never know right from wrong, moral from immoral, ethical from unethical, a good use of time compared to a bad use of your time. And that's why the no judgment, the saboteur is going to have a magnetic attraction to a phrase like that that's very particular to one big box discount fitness club called Planet Fitness, because the saboteurs know that when you don't judge, no change will come. Like, if you're going to get in shape one day, you got to judge pizza from salad. You got to judge your smoking friends from your friends who work out in a gentle way. You got to judge, hey, it's 9:30, it's time for bed. I shouldn't be up till midnight. You got to judge everything. And that's why the no judgment zone and these big box discount clubs that serve pizza on Mondays and bagels on Tuesdays. Some of them have Tootsie Rolls, some of them have donuts, and it's all sort of a spider trap for the saboteur. And because humans are proven to mimic, copy, and emulate everything they see, and because the big box discount fitness clubs are magnetic draws for large amounts of saboteurs, you're not going to have any positive role models. A lot of positive role models. I've seen some pretty in shape people at some of the big box discount fitness clubs, but they're not as plentiful as the other ones. So when the saboteur decides to exercise, sometimes they're really attracted, and they'll say it's for price, but it's more about, no one there's serious. Not many people are there serious about getting in shape, and the saboteur is going to recognize that, and they're going to be like, okay, no one's going to pressure me. I'm not going to see anybody to emulate, and they're serving pizza and bagels. It's not a high pressure situation for me to change, and that's what the saboteur is going to fall in love with. Number 7, the final point here when the saboteur decides to get things in order with their diet or their exercise. They're famous for starting a diet on a Monday and breaking it on a Friday, and the saboteur is just as famous for joining a fitness club and never going, because they have that electrical repulsion to anything that makes their life better. And we've mentioned it at the beginning that the saboteur lives in this resistance, stuck between the life they want to live and the life they're actually living. There's a part of them on a genetic level that wants to become better and become the best version of themselves and explore their talents and explore their life here before they die. This is a very limited time we have here, and we're designed as humans to push and push and push, and it's that push that brought the person into the fitness club in the first place. And then when all the fitness club services are laid out in front of the person, sometimes it just scares them too much. They're like, okay, I'm at the door now of change. I'm going to be better than Judy. I'm going to eat better than Francis. I'm going to want more than Mark. And these are the people in their lives. And if you've come from a family of underachievers, and there's nothing wrong with saying that, because if you come from a family of mediocre achievers, that has even a stronger influence on you than your immediate friends. And that's why you can get scared doing things different than your societal tribe or doing things different than your family tribe. Now, if any of this sounded like something you've done or you're doing or you might have done in the past and you want some sort of help, I am going to leave some contact information at the bottom of this talk. And I'm a self-sabotage coach. I can explain this process by which you can get over this and understand it and see it happening and react before you beat yourself down and live a mediocre life when you don't have to. You have to keep rising, even though you're going to feel this fear. And there's documented strategies that'll help you get past it. So my name is Jason Christoff. I'm a self-sabotage coach, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you for listening.